we doing, everybody? And happy Monday in the great state of Wisconsin, or wherever you're listening. This is Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. Today, we have on an overstretched Monday, we are talking everything Wisconsin sports. We got the Badgers, the Bucks, Badger basketball, that is. The Bucks picking up wins there Friday night, and then the Bucks picking up a win Saturday. Also talking about Badger football, pulling out a gutsy win against Nebraska. Good to see, but there's a lot to dissect in these games here. So we're going to be talking about the good, bad, the ugly there. And also, speaking of the good, bad, and the ugly, we had the Packers pulling out a big win against the Chargers on Sunday. Good things there, bad things there. We're going to be talking about all of it. So I am here today with Austin. Austin and the UWL football team pulled off a big win on Saturday, first round of the NCAA Division III tournament there. How are we doing today, Austin?
We're doing good. It's a good Monday. I mean, all of our sports teams in Wisconsin won, so that was good to see. And then obviously my football team got the win this weekend, so that was awesome.
It was definitely good to see. Good to see UWL moving on to the next round. They will play at home coming up this Saturday up against Aurora from Illinois. They're from Illinois, right?
Yep.
So they're playing Aurora of Illinois. So if you're in the La Crosse area, it's a pretty nice stadium that they have at UWL. So if you're feeling like you're around the area and you want to catch a football game or anything like that, get down there, check out the game, check out UWL. It's going to be some good football here on out there in the Division III tournament there for NCAA. So with that, though, we got to jump right away into the Bucks here. The Bucks pulled off a win against the Charlotte Hornets there on Friday. That was a 130-99 finish there. The Bucks got the win, 2-0 in their in-season tournament play. Bucks look good. Giannis comes back. Pretty good game from Giannis there. Dame finishes with 27 there. LaMelo played pretty well for the Hornets there. He had 37 of his own. They had struggles controlling. LaMelo got to the line a lot there. Dame and Giannis, though, we were worried about them coming back. Giannis and Dame looked good together on the court. Actually, in that one, all the Bucks starters finished in double figures, so that was good to see from the Bucks. Also had Portis and Connaughton coming off the bench there with 13 and 11, respectively. Playing some heavy minutes, too. Bobby had 30 minutes. Connaughton had 31, so a big game there from the Bucks on Friday. That led them up into Saturday there. They got the big win over the Dallas Mavericks. And with that one, I'm going to jump over to Austin there just to look at the stats just a little bit, see what he saw in that one for the Bucks.
Yeah, for the Mavericks, we saw Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving get most of their scoring. Doncic had 35 and Irving had 39, but I think that was pretty expected to happen considering those are two of the best players on their team. I mean, probably the best players on their team. But then for the Bucks, we had Giannis with 40 points, Damian Lillard with 27, and then Pat Connaughton with 16. So those three kind of led the charge for the Bucks. Middleton did not play against the Mavericks. Still seems like a little bit limited there, but I mean, our bench was able to pull through for the Bucks. Bobby Portis and Cameron Payne both had 11 off the bench, so that was able to help them. Andre Jackson did get 12 minutes, but had 0 points. I can see, I mean, both these teams seem pretty similar. I mean, they both have their two star players, with Mavericks being Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, and then Bucks having Giannis and Damian Lillard. So they're both 9-4. They both played like pretty good teams. I mean, Bucks won 132-125. It's a pretty high scoring game there. I mean, it could have been anyone's game, I'd say, but with the Bucks fourth quarter, with them scoring 43 to Dallas's 47, they kind of took over at the end and was able to win that game.
It was definitely a good game for the Bucks there. And the Bucks, it looks like we're going to be without Beachcamp for a little while. Looks like we're going to get into this here in a second, but looks like he will be out Monday against the Wizards. He has been ruled out with an ankle injury against the Wizards. So not good news on the injury front for the Bucks there. Bucks, though, have a game tonight. They will be taking on the Wizards there. 6 o'clock start for that one. And in that one, what are we expected to see? What kind of stats are we seeing from the Wizards right now? This is a Wizards team, 2-10 coming into this one. Not very hot on the season, but they still have some scorers on this team that the Bucks need to watch out for. So who are we looking at there for the Wizards right now?
The main two guys we're looking at Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole. For the most part, Kuzma's averaging 23.5 points and Jordan Poole averaging 15.5. Both pretty dynamic players. I mean, they both know how to score. But after that, I mean, it's kind of some guys who, um, I mean, I haven't really heard of. There's a Denny, I don't really know how to say his last name, Avidja, something like that. He averages 13.2, and then after that, it's just a lot of single digit points per game. So, I mean, I don't think the Bucks should be able to, or should be fooling around with a team like this. A 2-10 team with some pretty with a lot of losses there. So, I mean, especially with the Bucks coming off these two good wins, especially against the Mavericks, a really good team, they should be able to pull this one off with ease, I'd want to say.
Yeah, and we're hoping to see another Bucks win because leading up into if they win this one, they take on the Boston Celtics on Wednesday there. So it's going to be good for the Bucks to keep winning ways, win 5 in a row leading up into that big game with Boston here coming up. Bucks Wizards coming up tonight should be a good one. Johnny Davis looks like he will be a game time decision, though, so we don't know if we're going to see former Badger Johnny Davis in the game. Would be exciting to see him taking on the Bucks. It's just cool to see Wisconsin guys in the league, so it would be cool to see Johnny Davis out there. But we will see what they have in store for the Bucks here. 6 o'clock tonight, they will be taking on the Bucks there from Capital One Arena there in DC. But with that, we got to jump over into Badger basketball. Got the win against Robert Morris on Friday. Definitely not the big win that we were thinking it was going to be, but they got the win. At the end of the day, a win's a win. When it comes to March, a win is all you're looking at. In this one, I think Robert Morris was actually a little bit better than what was advertised, and I think that's what kind of bit Wisconsin was. With Robert Morris didn't fade away. They kept hitting shot after shot, and Wisconsin's defense is struggling here as of late. I think that's, why we're not seeing a lot of Connor Essegian is because his defense has struggled, and I think that's why we're not seeing Essegian. He can't stay in front of guys, so Greg Gard's kind of going away from Essegian right now until they figure out that aspect of his game. So with that, I'm going to jump over to you with the stats for that game against Robert Morris. What were you seeing in that one?
There seems like a big three. John Blackwell scored 18 points, and like I said, I think he should be more contributed into the game. I mean, he's been playing really good basketball, especially for being a freshman. Tyler Wall also contributed 18, and then Steven Crowell was 16. I'm pretty sure, if I remember, we talked about there being a significant height difference in the two teams, and we said it was going to be crucial for Steven Crowell to get going in that game. And as you can see, I mean, 16 points, 8 rebounds. He definitely did some damage there. Checky Hepburn only had 10, but AJ Storr and Max Klesmit, AJ Storr had 8 points and Max Klesmit only had 2. So, I mean, we're not really seeing a whole lot of production out of Max Klesmit that I thought we would be able to see, especially coming off a decent year last year. But this year, it doesn't seem like he's doing a whole lot when it comes to scoring points. I can't remember who started this game. I'm guessing it was Chucky, Crowell, Wall, Storr, and then Klesmit. So Blackwell would have been off the bench. I mean, Blackwell coming off the bench and scoring 18 points is huge. But it seems like he's the only one that comes off the bench and is scoring a lot of points. I mean, McGee put in 6 points, but Carter Gilmore 0. Essegian, I'm guessing still a little bit limited there, had no stats at all. And then Nolan Winter came in a little bit and had 0. So, I mean, especially with a team against Robert Morris, you think they'd be able to incorporate more than bench players, and you think they would be able to produce a little bit, especially against a Robert Morris team. But like you said, maybe they were a little bit like Robert Morris was probably – we thought they were not as good as they probably were. I mean, Jackson Last put up 16, TJ Wainwright put up 15, and then Alfred Buglio put up 10. That's about it that they had for the score. I mean, it's similar to the Badgers. They had three main guys scoring, and then the rest were whatever. And then same with Robert Morris. They had 3 main guys there scoring for them. Field goal percentage, Wisconsin had a 7% better than Robert Morris with 53%. Robert Morris 46%. Robert Morris shot the 3-pointer well, though. I think that's what was able to keep them in this game. I mean, they shot 13 for 29 at 3-point range, where the Badgers only scored 3 3-pointers out of 13. We only shot 13. The Badgers did have 20 more free throws than them also. So, I mean, that kind of outweighs the 3-pointers, but the 3-pointers were able to keep Robert Morris close in this game. Like we said, I thought the Badgers were going to be able to win a lot more by then just 10, but I think defense is a huge thing that we need to focus on right now. I mean, we're letting these teams score. I don't think Robert Morris is a team that should be scoring 68 on the on the Badgers, but they did. And I mean, if they're going to be scoring 68, then the Badgers should be at least scoring at least 80 on these guys, or at least a little bit more than 78. But I mean, maybe we are missing a little bit of that 3-point threat that we were hoping Connor Seaton would have. But I mean, with him still being injured, and then him also as a liability on the defense, maybe it's a decision that we can't play him.
I think that's the big thing right now. I did see them talking about it, and Connor Seaton isn't hurt anymore. We were speculating that he was still injured and he was limited. Now they're saying that we're just trying to get a Seaton back into the groove of the game is more of what Guard's saying now. So that's the big problem with Connor Seaton right now, is that he's not putting up the effort and the things that Guard wants to see in those minutes there. Like you were talking, though, you saw the limited minutes there from Storr and Klesman. Guard found out late in that one that Blackwell and McGee were two guys coming off the bench there that were deserving of minutes there in that second half, and he kept that 5 in there. We did not see AJ Storr for the last, I think it was like 10 minutes of that ball game. We did not see AJ Storr. It was all in Blackwell and McGee. We didn't see Klesman. We didn't see Storr. He kept those two on the bench because he saw with Chucky, Wall, Blackwell, McGee, and Crowell that he was getting what he wanted to see, defense and the effort. And that's what he kept out there on the floor. And that's what he had to do in this one. We didn't see a lot from Marcus Ilvers, Nolan Winter, 6 minutes, 2 minutes there for Ilvers in this one. A season with 7 minutes. We didn't see much out of those guys. And Klesman and AJ Storr, 21 minutes and 19 minutes respectively there. I mean, we didn't see much of those two in this ball game. To me, right now, I would, and this is a speculation, but I would start Blackwell. I am putting Blackwell in there over Klesman right now. Blackwell gives me what Klesman lacks in offense, and he also gives me what Klesman has in defense. He gives me the hustle that Klesman gives me on the defensive end. And I think that's what the Badgers are lacking there right now. That's why Klesman didn't play a lot of minutes. It wouldn't surprise me if Blackwell finds his way into the starting rotation there over Klesman. Season, I think he needs a lot of work on the defensive end. That's what we're kind of seeing right now, is his defense is what's killing him. The Badgers in this one, like you were talking, 44% the Robert Morris shot from 3. That's what kept Robert Morris in this game, was being able to hit the 3 ball. And some of them were unorthodox threes that they couldn't do anything about. But at other times, the Badgers had to do a better job rotation, chasing guys off the 3-point line and trying to force them into the lane, into traps and everything like that. The Badgers kind of went away from that. And that was a killer for Wisconsin in this one. But Robert Morris hit the shots that they had to hit. And that's what I think kind of helped them out in this one. Also, I think a big thing that helped them out was fouling Wisconsin. I mean, 27 for 40 from the line is not a great percentage if you are the Badgers. Tyler Wall did improve, 8 for 12 from the free throw line. Something good out of Tyler Wall there was seeing him actually shoot over 50% from the line. Crowell struggled, 2 for 6. Other than that, I mean, the rest of the guys shooting free throws were pretty good. McGee, 4 for 6. Blackwell had 10 free throws, made 8 of them. I mean, pretty good free throw percentages there besides the free throws from Crowell there. You would like to see more out of Wall, but the way Wall's been shooting free throws, that was a good performance out of him. So that was good to see. Also, though, we talked about the height advantage, like you were saying. The Badgers were all rebounded in this game, 28-27. So I think that was something to look at there, was the rebound battle was not won by Wisconsin there, even with that height advantage. And that's what I think was a big killer for Wisconsin. Also, Robert Morris turned the ball over a lot, which kept Wisconsin in the lead there. 21 turnovers by this Robert Morris team was a killer for him. The Badgers, 24 for 45, only got 45 shots off in this game. That's a problem. That's a big problem the Badgers need to address leading up into some of these bigger games coming up here tonight. We're going to get into this one, but this Virginia game, I think that's going to be a big key for the Badgers is to kind of address that defense that they're having issues with right now, and also utilizing size advantage when they have it. They aren't utilizing it like they should be. Crawlin, this one against Robert Morris, shot well, 7 for 9. Wall, 5 for 5. But, still not utilizing the post as much as I'd love to see, working the offense through the post. And I think that is a killer for Wisconsin. It's good to see, though, Blackwell producing off the bench, but I think he needs more of a dominant role in this rotation right now for the Badgers to be successful, because he brings everything that Klesmit doesn't. He brings the offensive aspect. Right now, Klesmit's struggling. Maybe bring Klesmit off the bench for a while and see what Klesmit can bring to the game. But until Klesmit shows us something, I don't think he needs to be in that starting rotation for the Badgers to be successful. Looking at Chucky, I think, I would replace Chucky in the starting rotation, but at the same time, I think he settles it down. I think having Chucky out there is it's a safety blanket for this offense for Wisconsin. He kind of keeps it settled down out there. He can move the ball for him when he has to, and I think that's why Chucky needs to stay in the rotation. I would definitely consider Blackwell in the starting rotation over Klesmit moving forward. But with that is, the Badgers offense still stale at times, getting a little bit better though, but still stale at times. Defense definitely needs some work here. So hopefully we see it here, because tonight the Badgers will be taking on the Virginia Cavaliers. Fort Myers tip-off, 5 o'clock tonight. The Badgers will have the start time for that one. Do you got the stats pulled up for this game?
I had it, and then I lost it.
He had it and he lost it. Leading up into this one, Virginia hasn't been... Oh, you got it? Okay. Leading up into this one here, the Badgers playing Virginia. Virginia hasn't played a lot of great games yet. They played Florida. They had... I don't even know who the heck this is. Tarleton State. They played Tarleton State. They played North Carolina A&T, and they played Texas Southern and gotten wins in all of them, respectively. So some decent wins by Virginia, but haven't really been tested yet. So what are you seeing for stats here from this Virginia team?
Not a whole lot. When you look at their top 3 scores, Ryan Dunn, Isaac McKinley, and Reese Beekman, all of them averaging 10.8, 10.7, 10.5. So a lot of averages in the 10s. But then you look at their other 2 or 3 other main guys that have been averaging most of their minutes. Blake Buchanan, Andrew Rhodey, I don't know how you say it, especially say his last name, but Buchanan averaging 7.5, Rhodey averaging 6.3. And then another guy, Dante Harris, averaging 5.3. So it seems like their guards are primarily their scorers, and then their bigger guys are kind of just there for support. But, yeah, they're not – you look at the Badgers stats. The Badgers played against Tennessee, tough team, but the Badgers haven't played against Providence was pretty good too. But then, like you said, when you look compared to Virginia, Virginia, you can say they're 4-0, but the best team that they played was probably not Florida. Virginia's 4-0, but the best team that they played was Florida, and they barely beat them. And Buchanan averaged 18, and then so he was their highest scorer. So it looks like when you look at them compared to the Badgers, you could probably say 2 very similar teams. When it comes to scoring wise, you could say that Badgers, they you never know who's going to score most of their points, but then you can also say, it's probably going to be 3 guys in their lineup that are probably going to have the most points, and then the rest of their team is just kind of single digit numbers. It kind of seems like 3 guys kind of take over the game, and that's what it seems like Virginia too. Virginia has been known as being a very good team. They got who's their head coach? I forget. Bennett, right?
Tony Bennett.
He's a pretty good coach. These past few years, Virginia's been really good. So obviously still really good competition. You don't know what's going to happen. And if the Badgers defense gets the best of them, it could be pretty downhill for the Badgers. But I think the Badgers have a good shot at getting back on the right track and winning this game for them.
And the worst part to see with this Virginia team is that some of their best players are from Wisconsin. Reese Beekman's coming out of Milwaukee there, and Leo Bond, he's coming out of Wauwatosa there. So, I mean, a lot of pretty good guys coming out of Wisconsin there that are in this Virginia rotation. They're definitely a well-rounded team. Like you were covering the stats there, it seems like, 10 points a game to about, 6 points a game. They're all averaging right around the same point. So they're an all-around well-oiled machine, and that's what Tony Bennett works for. A lot of cutting to the rim, a lot of relying on guys to get themselves open. Ball movement is key for Virginia. They're going to try and slow Wisconsin down. And Wisconsin loves to play slow. This is going to be a battle of who can score in the half-court offense. I think Wisconsin's kind of developed where they can get out and run if they have to, if they want to. And I think Wisconsin could speed up Virginia just a little bit in this one, where they could potentially speed them up to the point where Virginia gets uncomfortable. They don't want to play fast. They'd rather play you in the half-court set. And Wisconsin can get some turnovers, get some points off of turnovers, moving fast. I think that'll be big for Wisconsin. We got to see big games out of the guards for Wisconsin in this one. And when I say guards, if Klesmit's out there, if Chucky and Connor Essegian, we're going to have to see some big games from these guys coming up here pretty soon. We can't rely on Crowell and Tyler Wall to do all the dirty work all the time for them. The guards are going to have to be able to hit shots because, like you were talking, Tony Bennett, great coach, smart coach. He knows that if they're beating us inside, we're going to put all the pressure inside and make Wisconsin shooters hit the shots. And we know Wisconsin's not very good from downtown. So Tony Bennett's going to force Wisconsin to shoot the three. And if Wisconsin can hit those three, Tony Bennett's going to be out of options and he's going to not know what to do. He's going to have to man up. Guys are going to get open. There's going to be mismatches. That's where Wisconsin needs to utilize. They got to hit shots against Virginia for this to be a good game for Wisconsin. So hopefully in this one, we see the Badgers develop a better look from downtown there and get hot. And we're hoping to see guys like Connor Essegian and like Max Klesmit find their stroke there from downtown, because I think that's going to be big for Wisconsin. Even seeing guys like Blackwell continue what he's doing, AJ Storr, and seeing maybe a guy like Isaac Lindsley or Kamari McGee kind of develop into a scorer for Wisconsin in this one. I think it's going to rely on a lot of the guards in this game against Virginia. Also keeping guys like Beekman and Bliss, even Leo Bond coming off the bench there for Virginia. I think it's going to be big for Wisconsin to keep them off the glass, keep them out of the lane there, and not let them get to the hoop, because Leo Bond, athletic guy coming out of Wauwatosa there, he loves to get to the rim and he loves to make you pay when he gets there. So it's going to be huge for Wisconsin to keep these guards out of the lane there, and help side defense is going to be big. But when you go to help, don't fall off your guy. Don't lose your guy. They keep losing guys. Their defense is struggling because they're not slipping screens. They're allowing these guys to get open, rolling off the screen, because they're helping and then they're not recovering. They're helping and they're not switching. So that's where Wisconsin's struggling. Needs to be better communication with this Badger team on both ends of the court there for them to be successful in this one. Like you said, though, I think Wisconsin can pull this game off against Virginia. I think it's going to take something. I think it's going to take something special from Wisconsin's guards in this one, but I do think they definitely have the capabilities to win this ball game here. I think it's going to be low scoring. I don't expect a huge performance out of either team. I don't expect it to be a blowout either way. I expect it to be close. I'm talking like maybe 50, 60 points combined, from both sides. I think it's going to be like a Badgers scores 60, Virginia scores 56. I think it's going to be around that kind of scoring night from both ways. Just the way these guys love to play defense and they love to slow it down. I think that's going to be what they try to do. I think Wisconsin has to take Virginia out of their elements, and I think that's going to be a big it's going to be a big thing for the Badgers in this one. So predictions, I think the Badgers pull it out. I really do. I think it's going to probably be, like I said, 62-54. I could see a 62-54 finish, Wisconsin with the win there, but I could also see it ended up being like a 50-44 game too. So I'm right in that boat right there, where it's going to be very low scoring in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go Badgers 67, Virginia 60. Kind of in that 60s range, and still pretty close. Andrew Rohde for them, actually from Brookfield also. So that's another Wisconsin guy for the Virginia Cavaliers. So three Wisconsin guys that I guess the Badgers missed out on when recruiting, but
We miss out on a
and
lot of Wisconsin guys when we
yeah,
recruit.
and he gets 28.5 minutes per game, so he gets the most minutes out of anyone on their team. So, and I'm pretty sure he's a transfer from St. Thomas. Pretty sure he was I'm pretty sure he came from, or he went to St. Thomas out of high school, but. I just wanted to point him out there too as another Wisconsin guy on their team.
There we go. There we go. So we have 3 Wisconsin guys. Wisconsin sucks at recruiting in state. And now we're seeing them all on Virginia there. We're seeing 3 guys that Tony Bennett, he was, Dick Bennett coached at Wisconsin. Tony decided he didn't want to coach at Wisconsin. He went out elsewhere. Badgers didn't want him. We had Bo Ryan at the time. It was, one of them kind of things. And, well, he poaches guys out of Wisconsin. He does a pretty dang good job of it. So this should be a good matchup. Virginia, a younger team coming into this one. A lot of freshmen playing some big minutes for them and a lot of sophomores, not a lot of seniors on this team. So Badgers will have their hands full with Virginia. That is going to be a 5 o'clock start tonight. I believe it is on FS1, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that game is going to be on FS1. Yep, 5 o'clock on FS1 there. The Fort Myers tip-off is going to be. And then I believe Wednesday will be the championship or 3rd and 4th place game for the Fort Myers tip-off. That will be on Wednesday there for this one. So Badgers, 5 o'clock start there against Virginia. But with that, Austin gave us a pretty good fact before, but we're going to go to him with our fact of the day.
In 1942, the NHL abolishes regular season until World War II is over. I don't know a whole bunch about NHL stuff in Wisconsin. Wisconsin doesn't have an NHL team, so we're kind of split in between rooting for the Minnesota Wild and the Chicago Blackhawks. Pick your piece. I don't really know what I am. I'm more of a Kraken fan. They're new. I like the Kraken.
We do have the Admirals, though. The Admirals are around.
No one cares about them. All right, they're minor leagues.
Wow. Okay, so we don't care about the Admirals. That's fine. So with that, though, excuse me there, we got to jump over into Badger football because the Badgers got a win. It was not a great, it was a gutsy win. It was they got the win. They got the win against Nebraska there, 24-17 in overtime in that one. Nebraska jumped out to the big start there, went up 14 in the first. Badgers bounced back, got 10 in that second quarter, followed it up with 7 in the third, and then Nebraska tied it there in the fourth. Wisconsin's offense kind of went stale there in that fourth quarter. Took it to overtime, and the Badgers got the win there. What did you see stat-wise for this one? And then we'll kind of jump into our takeaways from the game.
When I look at Nebraska stats, I see Chubba Purdy, Brock Purdy's brother, Brock being in the NFL for the 49ers. But his younger brother, Chubba Purdy, or Chuba, I don't know. I don't care how I say it. But he had 169 yards passing with 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But more impressively, 105 yards rushing with a touchdown. And then their running back had 50 yards rushing on 13 carries, but no touchdowns. So their quarterback kind of carried, it seemed like, for Nebraska. And then Jalen Lloyd also had a touchdown for receiving. When you look at the Wisconsin Badgers, though, Tanner Mordecai, 160 yards, 1 touchdown passing. Braylon Allen, 62 yards on 22 carries. That's good to see, with 2 touchdowns. Also really great to see there. Jackson Aker had a touchdown to really get them going, I want to say. Wide open. It was hard to miss. He had a reception. It was his only reception, 26 yards, 1 touchdown. Will Pauling coming up huge for the Badgers. He seems like he's been kind of the go-to guy for Tanner Mordecai there. 79 yards receiving on 8 receptions. And then Skylar Bell and Tucker Ashcraft, 2 receptions, 16 yards, 3 receptions for 15 yards there. A lot of these guys I haven't really heard about. I'm not gonna lie. Chimere Dike had one reception, which was for 0 yards. He's kind of at the bottom, but a lot of these guys I haven't really heard about. Quincy Burrows, Vinny Anthony II, newer names to me. So it's good to see them at least getting playing time and producing a little bit. A lot of these guys that you haven't heard about and possibly stepping up in roles that the Badgers could possibly need them.
Well, yeah, and like you were saying there, Quincy Burrows and Vinny Anthony getting some time there for the Badgers in this one. That had a lot to do with no Bryson Green in this one. Didn't see any of CJ Williams. Didn't get a lot. He didn't get any catches in this one, so we didn't see a lot of action there out of CJ Williams. And DK still kind of ailing that injury. So without some of those big performers for the Badgers, didn't see a lot of them. That brought in Quincy Burrows and Vinny Anthony, and they took advantage of the time there. But in this one, the Badgers defense sucked to start. They just outright sucked. Chuba Purdy took off for a big old 55-yard run there early on in that one. I mean, he scored on that opening drive for, I believe it was the opening drive there. Chuba Purdy had that rushing touchdown. Yep, Chuba Purdy, 55-yard run for a touchdown there. 6 plays, 75 yards, scored in 3 minutes. Got the ball back after Wisconsin did nothing. And then a 58-yard pass from Chuba Purdy, missed tackles there, 76 yards in 3 minutes and 35 seconds. Nebraska put in that second score of the game, and I was like, oh boy, I might as well shut this off now. I don't even know why I'm watching anymore. There's no reason for it. The Badgers are going to lose this ball game to Nebraska. I was ready to give up. Kept watching. That's when I saw Jackson Aker catch that 26-yard pass from Mordecai. I thought it was good to see the Badgers kind of bounce back. They didn't fold. They could have folded, and they didn't. They bounced back. The defense bounced back from Wisconsin and kind of put a stop to what Nebraska did early on to them, made tackles. That's about all they had to do, and kind of put them back in. But I was impressed by the response that Wisconsin showed. It showed that there was still a little bit of fight from this Badger team, and that was good to see. They're moving on. Also, seemed like Mordecai played a little bit better. He didn't play an outstanding game by any means, but Mordecai, 160 yards. Everybody keeps telling me he's hurt. If he's hurt, why is he still out there? Why is he getting these snaps? If he's hurt, why is he getting these valuable minutes from this Badger team? I think that is another question mark for me, is why we're seeing so much of Tanner Mordecai if he's injured. You know, and maybe give Braden Locke sometimes, Nick Evers, I don't know, whoever you want to put out there. But Tanner Mordecai isn't doing any good if he can't throw the ball, if he's still struggling to throw it. But I don't think he's struggling to throw it. So I don't know where everybody's coming up with this injury talk that they're getting out of Mordecai right now. With that, though, Braylon Allen didn't have a big game for the Badgers, but I thought he had a crucial game. He had 2 touchdowns, big spots he needed to score. He put the ball in the end zone, and I think that was good to see from Braylon Allen. Also, Will Pauling, another big game from Pauling, 8 receptions for 79 yards. I thought that was big to see out of Will Pauling in this one. Also, Badgers become bowl eligible for another year. Don't know what bowl they're going to get into. It might be some terrible bowl that we've never heard of, but the Badgers become bowl eligible one more time. And I think that is a huge thing for the Badgers to be bowl eligible again, something to build off of moving forward. And I think that's a good thing out of the Badgers. So that is good to see out of this Badger team. 24-17 got the win there in overtime. That was good to see out of this Badger team. And yeah, Austin is struggling. I just got him texting me that it is not working on his end. So we will see if we can catch him back here on the podcast. But anyways, we're going to keep moving on. Badgers get the win there, 24-17. Big win for the Badgers there, becoming bowl eligible one more time here. Leading up into our next topic, and that is the Packers. Packers get the win over the Chargers there on Sunday. 23-20 was the finish there for the Packers in this one, moving to 4-6 on the season there. In this one, looking at the stats for the Packers, Jordan Love, 27 for 40 in this one for 322, 2 touchdowns. Jordan Love, pretty good performance out of Jordan Love in this one. I thought there were still some moments where I wish he'd have thrown the ball a little bit harder, got it over the top to some receivers, but Pretty good game out of Jordan Love in this one. Packers defense did a pretty good job controlling Justin Herbert, 21 for 36, 260, 2 touchdowns. I thought the secondary played great for the Packers in this one. Not really in the rushing game, though. Justin Herbert, 8 carries for 73 yards. A big performance out of Justin Herbert there. Not so good news on the rushing front for the Packers, seeing Emmanuel Wilson and Aaron Jones both go down in this one. But a good bounce back for the Packers. Jaden Reed, 3 carries, 46 yards, a huge touchdown there and an end around. I thought that was great to see. Getting Jaden Reed and this receiving group kind of involved in that run game. That was great to see. Also, the emergence of Dontavian Wicks was a big thing in this one. 3 receptions for 91 yards. Came up with big catches when he had to, a big pass interference call against the Chargers that set the Packers up well. I thought that was big for the Packers in this one. Keenan Allen, 10 receptions, 116 for the Chargers in this one. That was the leading receiver for the Chargers. So pretty good performance by the Packers in this one. Packers on first down in this one had 23 first downs. Pretty good to see the Packers starting to move the ball a little bit better. They're 50% on third down. Not a bad performance there. 397 yards in total, so that was good to see the Packers offense start to kind of put something together there. Looking at their turnovers, no turnovers in this one for the Packers. Another great thing for the Packers, but 7 penalties though. The Packers are still being penalized crucially in moments, and I think that is going to be something that the Packers still need to address moving forward. Time of possession was finally in the Packers' favor. 31 minutes, 58 seconds for the Packers, 28 minutes, 2 seconds for the Chargers. So I thought that was big to see the Packers winning in the time possession era there. And in this one, I thought the Packers finally produced in that fourth quarter. They've had a couple weeks in a row trailing by a score in the fourth quarter. They couldn't find a way to put it in the end zone to do what they had to do. And I thought finally the Packers were able to do it in this one. I thought that was a big thing to see. The Chargers definitely hurt themselves. Late there, Kenny Clark got the big deflection there against Justin Herbert. That was huge, but a couple plays later, Keontae Johnson missed that ball down the sideline there for the Chargers, and that was a big drop. Packers got away with one there. Packers kind of screwed themselves in this one, though. A couple of drops there by the Packers themselves, also penalties that forced them in bad spots. That was also killers both ways in this one. Jordan Love was sacked 3 times in this ball game for 27 yards also. So Chargers got to the Packers a little bit there. Joey Bosa went out early in this one there with an injury. Hopefully everything checks out with Joey Bosa and he's good to go here moving forward. Sucks to see a guy like Joey Bosa get injured, but injuries were a problem for the Packers. Like I was talking, Aaron Jones, Emmanuel Wilson both out. Looks like Aaron Jones did miss an extended injury, though, by what the word is. Matt LaFleur came out talking about it, so did Aaron Jones, and it looks like Jones had it. He had an MRI, or he's scheduled for an MRI for today, but they did avoid big injuries. So that was good to see out of this Packers team, is that we will get Aaron Jones back at some point. Nothing crucial as of right now. So good to see from the Packers. Got a win there against the Chargers. It wasn't like it was what we were hoping to see the Packers do, and that was put together a dominant performance across the board. We haven't seen that out of the Packers yet, but hopefully this is a building block leading forward. Now you have a short week going up against the Lions there on Thanksgiving, a short week for the Packers leading up into that one. Hopefully we'll see some of these running backs come back from injury there. Otherwise, we're going to see somebody called up from the practice squad or signed here and see if they can produce for this Packers team. So with that, though, that's about all I got for the Packers. We're going to get more into them this week. We're going to talk a little bit more Badger football this week. Got the Badger basketball coming up tonight. They're going to be taking on Virginia. Marquette plays tonight against UCLA. And we also have the Bucks coming up tonight there against the Wizards. So a lot of basketball coming up tonight in Wisconsin. So just get out. If you're not getting out to any of those games, if you're heading to Marquette, check out Marquette. If you're heading down, if you're for some reason down to watch the Fort Myers tip-off, that's awesome. Hopefully it's a great experience. And if you're checking out the Bucks there in DC or on TV, hopefully the Bucks pull off a win there. But with that, This has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. It's been awesome talking to you. And until tomorrow when we check back with you, deuces.